let's get right into it. So in this life hack, we are talking about salary negotiations and getting new jobs. So I have some pretty strong opinions about people making sure that they get what they're worth. But let's talk about what the life hack had to say. Never reveal your previous salary when negotiating for a job. Now, most hiring managers expect you to ask about salary by the second interview, but if you do, they might turn that question around and ask you about your own salary history to get an idea of what you're willing to take. Here's why you shouldn't share with them what you've made before. Telling your potential new employer your current or past salary gives them an upper hand in negotiations on their offer to you. By redirecting that conversation, especially if the hiring manager or recruiter is persistent, can be uncomfortable but makes a big impact. Okay? As with any negotiation, you want to come across as confident. Forbes recommends doing your research on the market and closely comparing your skills and expertise to what the job description lays out so you're confident you'll bring a ton of value. If you can, draw a clear line between what you offer and the impact to the company's revenue and strategies. You want whoever you're negotiating with to focus on the future rather than your past salaries. Richard, what do you think about that?
I agree.
No, I totally agree as well.
And I've done salary negotiations for some time. And I think that that's absolutely right. And I think the other trick to negotiating a really good salary is also like doing the research, knowing if you're in a union shop, then you've got to follow the salary bands. So you got to know what's in the band, know where the band is, ask them a range, right? And then also be willing to walk away.
Yeah.
Be willing to walk away. A lot of times when you get to the salary portion of the conversation, sometimes, most of the time, at least in my experience, unless it's a really crappy job, the employer is going to try to avoid the salary conversation for as long as possible because they want to make an offer, you know, they want to try to make an offer without asking you anything, right? So the strategy is to sort of, in my opinion, I think you wait it out, right? When you get to the second round interview, and they're like, if salary, they'll either bring it up, if they don't bring it up, don't say anything about it. And then when they get ready to make an offer, then you can begin to negotiate, knowing what your walk-away number is. Because trust me, they have a walk-away number.
Right.
And then the other, it's just like negotiating any good deal. And the other trick is like when they make their initial offer, ask yourself, can I afford to counter?
Yep.
You could counter yourself out of a job, but you could also counter your way into a couple $1,000s more. I
mean, I think more often than not, like, believe it or not, if you are a good candidate or a great candidate, companies are very interested in that. As much as it seems like the job market's really tough, when you're competing for these, like, you know, I don't know, 60K and above jobs, once you start getting into that range, companies want to hire someone who's great. And they're willing to make concessions about salary in order to have the right person.
That's absolutely right.
And I mean, they would much rather have someone who is easy to work with, who's very smart, who has good experience, who will bring long-term value, than to save 10 grand on salary.
Absolutely.
I mean, hiring a dud is a freaking...
And if the company is cheaping out on salary,
that's a big
maybe
problem.
That's not the company that you want to work for, which is why I said you want to make sure you know your walk away.
Right.
Right? When they're like, oh, well, let's get back to you. If they're like, oh, no, this is as far as we can go, then this is probably not where you want to work because they don't value you.
Yeah. Any company that wants to nickel and dime you on salary,
they're going to nickel and dime you throughout your entire experience working for them.
Yeah.
You're going to be nickeled and dimed.